about GeoGrids, the truth you need to know, because a lot of times people either A, don't know how to use them, they don't understand. Whenever someone says 1 mile radius, 2 mile radius, 3 mile radius, what do all those green pins mean? How to dominate larger areas. A lot of times SEOs as well will show you smaller grids and they'll be like, oh my God, I got ranked in this little bitty area right here. They won't say it's a small area, but I could tell, obviously. And then we'll do a big map, it'll be 300 something pins and it dominates the entire area. And then kind of like, what's so special about this? Well, what's so special about it? We're going to go over that. We're going to go over some hacks too. We're going to touch on a couple of hacks in regards to the type of areas you should be in. And this applies to not just junk removal, but it applies everywhere across the board. So we're going to go over that. But while we're going to be going live and everything. We're going to be talking about that. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section and I will answer them. I'm also going to turn on some beats real quick, and then I'm going to go on live and share this in some of the groups. Make sure to share the live. If you could, hit that like button on YouTube and share it in Facebook, share it on your wall, share it in other groups you might be in. And I'm going to go share it right now real quick, give you a couple of minutes, and it'll get you guys a couple of minutes to get in here, and then we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Hope you guys are doing good. Those of you who hadn't seen me in a bit, just know that I am blessed and highly favored. I'm doing amazing. So thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for, just my coach, MJ Lopez, my wife, John Stickney, doing a lot of things. For example, we started our own conference called Digital Impact, helping Filipinos around the world, here in the Philippines, of course. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing venture. I can't complain. So want to reach out, just reach out to me. And it doesn't matter if it's a question about how to rank your business, getting more traffic, got questions regarding virtual assistants. We have 80, almost 80. We build a real good company culture. So if you ever have any questions, just let me know. I'd love to help you in any way, shape, or form that we can. I'm going to hang up this group, and then we'll be ready to go live. Really amazed. Honestly, I love my team. Doing a great job. We got our rankings and everything dialed in. We're probably one of the few SEO you're asking about it. We're probably one of the few SEO agencies that promise a guaranteed rankings in the top 3 of Google Maps, or we give someone a full refund. Most people are kind of like, well, how do you do that? And it's just honestly, I've been doing this for almost 3 decades. I've been doing SEO for almost 3 decades. I do thousands of audits a year. And because of that, you know, I can pretty much understand how long something's going to take or not take. Cliff, I don't know if it's echoing. It's just I have some music on in the background right now. I'm going to turn it since I'm doing these shares and stuff. Give me a few minutes, buddy. So, hey, Cliff, let me know if it's still echoing, but we're ready to get started here and we'll go through everything. I'm going to kind of show you this. So, this is a client that reached out to me, but we're going to use them kind of like an example. So, this is called Local Dominator, right? Local Dominator. I'm going to show you guys. This is a tool that I use. You can either use it, not use it, doesn't matter to me. There's also Local Falcon. There's a bunch of tools that you can use that are all they're not free, you have to pay for them. So I mean, and it depends on how many if you're only running a couple of scans, no problem. If you're running thousands of scans like me, then it winds up being pretty expensive. Okay. But go hit up if you want this tool, just message me and say, hey, I'd like the link for the tool, and I will give that to you and you can go check it out, and everything. But it's a tool that most search engine optimizers or SEOs and digital agencies will use. However, a lot of times it's misused. It's either misused by agencies to fool business owners. It's misused by SEOs to make marketing pitches and do what we call a marketing bait and switch. In other words, they tell you one thing, but in reality, it's something totally different. Okay. So I want to be completely transparent. Anytime we're talking to clients, we go through this and we kind of show everybody this is, what most agencies are doing. Thank you, Cliff. Yeah, it was just the music, brother, and I was trying to talk while doing it. So if any of you have questions, just drop them in the comments, and I will answer them as best as I can. And we're here to help you. And I'm going to start going live basically every single day, just talking about everything from SEO to virtual assistants, to life and mindset. Okay, so let's go ahead. This is the GeoGrid tool. It is called Local Dominator, right? Local Dominator. So Local Dominator, give a shout out to Eldar. He's a good friend of mine, and he's the one that built this tool. He runs an SEO agency. He is from Israel. But let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and go, let's say, for example, junk and haul. This is a guy that actually had reached out to me, and he is in Colorado Springs, right? Colorado Springs, Denver, that whole area is it's competitive, but it's nowhere near, in my opinion, like Los Angeles or Miami or Atlanta or anything like that. So a couple of questions. A lot of times people, and we'll go over this on another video, but they usually ask me, why do I only go after junk removal and junk removal near me? So the biggest thing I can tell you is if you can't own your main niche. So if I go to most maps and I type in, so for example, junk in a haul, their main niche should be, junk removal, right? As you see there, sometimes it's going to be waste management when they can't get this category, because believe it or not, harder than I've ever seen, even harder than plumbers or lawyers, is junk removal, even harder than locksmiths. And a lot of times they don't even get approved when I'm doing a GMB. So we want them to be approved, and sometimes it's really tough to get them approved. So, but nevertheless, there's another tool. It's not popping up right now, but it's called Plepper. Plepper will actually usually give you, the CID, which is a code in which it tells you, for example, hey, these are, if you will, this is who this is about. The Plepper code, or the code that Google assigns to every single business, it'll tell you, for example, this is Plepper over here. You'll see it on the right hand side, this little thing right there. Okay, so that is Plepper. And Plepper, for example, says, okay, the category or categories it's using, it gives every entity or every business, once you've established your brand, it will give you a place ID. All right, so the place ID and codes are all inside this string of codes up here. I'm not going to go over this really today. I just kind of want to do a brief overview. The business profile ID, the address, if it's not hidden, is it verified or not? What's the phone number, website? What's the rating? How many reviews it's got? What's the latitude, longitude, KGID? So KGID is essentially a code that Google attaches to, and you can see it right here in the URL. It's a code that attaches to that brand. Okay. Attributes, 3 attributes. It's going to tell you, for example, are they friendly with LGBT, transgender, service options, handicap, etc. But so, for example, this is where they are located at, right? So we're only going after junk removal. And the biggest reason why is that is your main niche on your GMB. Every time you want to do rankings, you want your main GMB to be the keyword or business you're running, not waste management. If it is, we can still rank you, but it should be junk removal. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if you cannot own this niche, if you cannot own these keywords and be known as the number one brand or number one business in Colorado Springs for these keywords, you should have no business whatsoever going after all the other keywords. What do I mean, all the other keywords? So, for example, why am I going to go after apartment cleanouts, appliance removal, assisted living cleanouts, cardboard recycling cleanouts, commercial junk removal, concrete removal, all these fucking different terms? Why am I going to go after those keywords if I cannot even own my main category, which is junk removal service, right? Junk removal service, junk removal near me. If I cannot own that, why am I going after anything else? So whenever they're running, an SEO sends you a GeoGrid, it can be put in a circle or a square. Not only that, so maybe you don't want to be in this Army's Peak area, right? Maybe you don't want to be in Northwest Colorado Springs. Maybe there's an area you don't want to be in. And I'll go over this in another video, but there are going to be certain areas you don't want to be in. Maybe this is the ghetto. Maybe it's the hood. Maybe you ain't got nobody out here. Maybe it's in the middle of nowhere. So maybe there's not enough money in this area. Maybe there's more money up here in the top, right? So you don't always want to go over the entire map, right? You don't always want to concentrate and rank on the entire map. You don't always want to do all your off-page SEO in the entire map. But a lot of times you'll see these GeoGrids, for example, when someone sends you one, and let's say it looks like this. Yeah, that's only got literally 7 pins. The smaller the pins, the smaller the area. All right. The larger the pins, i.e. the more pins, the larger the area. So when we start out, let's say the average grid I usually see is like this. It's 7. That's basically like your neighborhood. It's really not covering too much area. And I can show you, and I'm going to show you about how much land that covers and everything and how to determine it. All right. And you can only usually do this if you have this tool. It's really easy. If you don't, I'm going to show you another way to do it. But let's go ahead and run this. So if we get this GeoGrid, this is a client. He spent over 100. I literally got an email. He spent over $100,000 in 5.5 years on SEO. Can you imagine that? And has not got the results he wants. But a lot of times these SEO agencies, they'll send you these GeoGrids. And these GeoGrids be like, what do you mean you're not ranking, dude? I got you in the top 3 for this area. Well, that little bitty ass area only covers 28.27 square miles, right? Of course, you're in the fucking top 3, in that tiny ass area, right? And this makes the SEO feel like, oh yeah, I'm doing my job and everything, right? And they feel like they're doing an amazing fucking job because you're in the top 3, except for this little area right here. So this is what I call smoke and mirrors. A lot of times SEOs use smoke and mirrors to make themselves look better than they really are and make you feel like they've actually done something when in reality they haven't done diddly shit. Okay, that's number one. Um, Number two, now let's go back over here. We're going to go to this GeoGrid, and I love Local Dominator for this. You can open it up. Let's say I just literally clicked on this little icon here that basically means open up in a separate window. It opens up in this window right here. So one of the things I do, and I have another hack, and I'll go over this, is like, and we'll go over it once you see it in a bigger area. But just for example, if you're not ranking in these areas, there's ways in which I can pull the latitude and longitude of these areas. And then I concentrate all backlinks, reviews, everything I'm going to do on those areas. But how many miles is it from this point to the top? So when an SEO sends you this, you could go Pikes Peaks Library District East Library, so you know exactly where you're at. But in this case, when I have Local Dominator, I can actually pull the latitude and longitude. And how do I do that? I go over here to number 5, and I can hit copy here and get latitude, longitude there, or I can pull the address for the number 1 guy in that area, right? So, and then in this case, I go back to maps and I type in my lovely little address, and then I'm going to go get driving directions, right? All I do is type in my address, get the driving directions, right? This is the driving directions. This is the pinpoint. That's the pinpoint for the very bottom of this one right here. Or I could simply type in Pikes Peak Library, right? So we can do it that way, or we can do it this way. And then we go over here. Who's the number 1 guy at the very top? And he's in 80921 zip code, right? So I go back over to my maps and I'm just looking. So for example, I'm already seeing this guy's in kind of the same area. It's, you know, like same zip code-ish in the same vicinity, but it's only a 20-minute drive. So this is basically where I would tell you, this is where most SEOs should be able to rank. You should be able to rank in this little area within the first month. Like, if you've been doing SEO for longer than this guy is obviously telling me, he's been doing it for 5.5 years, you know, and he's obviously in the top 3. So we've already seen that. This is his lovely little GeoGrid and his little 20-minute drive radius, right? And that is 20-minute drives from the very bottom up to here. So this is basically, let's say, you know, 20-minute drive is basically, you know, maybe 10 miles, maybe, right? You should be able to do this very easy, you know. And most SEOs will show you this and they'll say, you know, you're now ranking, bro. And they look amazing. They think they've done great. And reality is, it's not so good at all, right? The next one. So, for example, now let's go into what William Jones and Rank Fortress, our team, does. So our team, we don't even start, okay, at 7, to be honest with you. I mean, most SEOs started about that. We don't start at that. Junk removal near me and junk removal services. So in this case, I mean, you can enter in all this. I like this, that his tool, Local Dominator, you can pick out, you know, different keywords and do the auto generate for AI, right? Obviously, it's going to find high intent keywords. That's messing up right now. But next, we're going to go back to our GeoGrid, and I'm going to choose more pins. So now we're going to go from 7 pins to, you can go 8, 9, but we normally start at 13. That's what we start out at. So let's say we're going to run that one. I want to see, is he ranking in that area? Now, that area, and we're going to show you the driving distance and everything. And when you see it, you know, you're going to understand when we say we're ranking you in that area, we're ranking you in a huge, huge area. And we've been known to go up a lot bigger than that. Okay. So let's just go here. So in that big area, he's already in the top 5. So that's not bad. It's still not the top 3, which is why he's pissed off after paying over $100,000 in 5.5 years, which I totally get it when he's the biggest fucking brand in the area. But you see all this right here? This is what pisses you off. So, and another thing is, and I could take and I can show you this, but there's a chat GPT prompt in which I use and say, basically, you take a screenshot of this and go, how much of this is actually in the top 3%? So and when I do that and I see, well, I'm actually not ranking as high as the SEOs want me to believe, you know, and then when they give you this GeoGrid, now you know how to come back at them. So, and I'll show you this. So the top 3% calculation and how do I use it and everything. So for example, you know, we'll go over that, but we're going to wrap it up first on the rest of it. So, but the top 3%, it's a real eye opener, and I'll show you that real quick. So normally what I do is I'll take the GeoGrid, put it in here and say, well, how much, you know, are you in the top 3? Like this looks amazing, but it's not. So, but we'll go back to that real quick. So this map, let's take this. We're down here, number 18. So this is where Rank Fortress separates us from the, if you will, it's where the boys and the men are separated from. Okay, it's where a real SEO comes into play. Anybody can do SEO, but not anybody can rank in big areas. Okay, not anybody can dominate an entire area. Not anybody can build a brand. But let's go ahead and let's pull the bottom address like we just showed you. All we're going to do is click on the last piece down here at the bottom to get the address, right? Get the address. And then we're going to come over here, back over to our maps. And we're going to get our driving directions just to see how big of an area this is. So I want to show you the big difference between us and everybody else. So now we go up here to the very top and we get the very top address or the latitude and longitude, right? And we go back here and we're going to put driving directions, and we're going to start at the very top and we're going to end at the very top. So we got them ranked. That is still about a 19-20 minute driving area. However, when you go back to it and you actually see how much area you're covering, and I'll show you this as well. This is 113 square miles. Before, you were only covering 28 square miles. So this little bitty ass report that they sent you that's over here, and I'll show it to you once again, where they're saying, oh, you're doing amazing, you're in the top 3. Yeah, well, that little bitty ass thing is only covering 28.27 square miles, as you can see. Now, if you want to look at ours, and this is where we start at, this is not even where we end at, but where we start at is this huge ass area. So compare this, right, to this. It's just no comparison, right? But even this, so he's not ranking in all this area. So what would I do? I would personally not do anything until this entire GeoGrid is green. So why is that? So for example, if I copy this and I go back over to my prompt and I say, do the, you know, I have the prompt in, do the same here. And I enter in the GeoGrid, I want to know, well, how much percentage is he missing out on? In other words, how much traffic, how much money, how much blood are you bleeding out? He's ranking in the top 63%. Awesome. Awesome, right? No, it's not, because you're losing, you know, almost 37% of all traffic. 37% of all traffic. You are literally losing in this area. Maybe you don't want to rank in that area. We're not talking about that today, but I just kind of want to show you this so you understand what you're looking at the next time an SEO or agency sends you this. This is still a 20-mile radius. It's not as big, you know, as it can get in what we do. All right, so we're going to rerun the report again. Now, let's say once we got you dominating this area, what's the next step? Well, the next step is we go from junk removal near me, and we'll go over the keywords that a lot of SEOs will show you in another video. Why is it important? Search volume, things of that nature. Because a lot of times, not only with the maps, they'll do this, but they'll do this with the traffic, and they'll say, oh my God, I got you ranked for 600 something keywords. But then when you look at the keywords, you find out that they don't have very much traffic. And they're doing this, once again, it's smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. You know, they're just basically lying to you to get you to think that they're doing more than they are. So we go from the 13 pin. This is what we start out at. And then next thing we want to do, we want to go up to 15, right? And this, you say, well, it's only, 133 to 176, William. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah. Well, look how much bigger that map just got. So we're going to show you that. Also, I haven't talked about this, but this right here where you're choosing miles or half miles, etc., this is from pin to pin. So we're using 1 mile to 1 mile, 1 mile to 1 mile, 1 mile to 1 mile. So it's this right here only reflects the mileage or lack thereof between the pins or the distance. Obviously, the greater the pins, or the greater the coverage. So like this, and when the Army's peak, if I put it all the way up to 10, it covers that entire area. So that's a huge map, right? It covers a huge area. So all these pins affect that, but we're going to go up to 15 and then 21. So what we normally do, we go up to 15. I noticed it didn't, it's not covering that much more area. So I want to go up a little bit more. So generally speaking, this is where we'll kind of stop at, is at 21, but let's go ahead and run 15 and see where this client is, or potential client that had messaged me. And we'll show you where they're at. Let me see if we got any questions rolling in. Yep. Just booked a job. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Mr. Yee Yee is in the house. You just booked a job. Asked the client, how do they hear about us? And said, Google. Yes, SEO works. And he's not only my brand ambassador, but he also started as a client, and he's a good friend. So yeah, Mr. Yee Yee. We do shows with him. You'll see him on here quite often, and I'll also be on his channel quite often. So thank you for that, Mr. Yee Yee. So it's still processing, mainly because it's a huge area. A lot of times clients don't want to go out that far, right? And I'm going to show you some hacks. I'll make a different video specifically for that, but I just kind of want to show you it as well. So this is where it's like, wow, I'm top ranking. I got you in this huge area, dude, and you're in the top 5 for junk removal services, and you feel all good and special and fuzzy inside when they show you that shit. But the reality is that's an average of top 5/6, and you're not ranking in a lot of area. If I take this image once again, and I go back over here, and I'm going to tell Chapman, do the same here. Right? And I'm just trying to get, okay, what's the averages? I want to know what's the percentage of what I'm actually covering. You'll find out that you're covering losing about 42% of all traffic. 42%. So this map isn't that special anymore, is it? Because you're losing 42% of all traffic. So, and this is just outside of Colorado Springs. Imagine he wants to dominate Colorado Springs. This is not even in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs, his GMB is just a little bit north of Colorado Springs. Even though it says Colorado Springs, the city center, or what's called the centroid, is usually in the center of the city. It actually makes it easier to rank too when you get your GMB or Google My Business or Google Business Profile or Google Maps listing set up in the city centroid. One of the ways we find out what the city centroid is, and I'll go over this in another video, but you just simply go latitude, longitude, of the city. That specific city, Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I want to know what's the latitude and longitude of it. So I have obviously latitude, longitude, Denver. All these are all the other, if you will, areas in that neck of the woods. But that's how we get latitude and longitude. And what I normally want to do is I want to get the city center of that area, and that's where I'm going to want to rank. I want to rank in the city center. I want to rank in right here, literally. I want to find an office space in this area, nowhere else, because that will make it easy as shit to rank on East Koala Street or somewhere in this area, right? That is the city center. Now, let's go back to our rankings here. So let's open up this map. So, and you're going to look at, see how much area that this covers. Once again, it's covering quite a bit of area, but it's still not as big as it can be. So what happens, a lot of times people ask me, well, what happens, William, if once you get me in the top 3 in this huge ass area, it's not that bitty ass, now mind you, if we went back to what, the other SEO companies are going to show you and be like, well, here, Mr. Johnson, this is what we got you ranking in, and you think it's all nice and fuzzy because you're in the top 2, then you find out, no, reality, that's not how a geogrid should look. A geogrid should be about this big, baby. Okay, so at 3 months ends, and then what happens? What happens, William? So once we get you dominating in the big area, then we say, okay, now do you want to sign up for another 3 months? You want to keep expanding? You want to keep growing? This is where I say, do you want to go for, let's say, if you're a roofer or you want, let's say, a locksmith, or your garage door repair, or your junk removal, whatever it is in home services niche, because that's our specialty, is specifically junk removal. We go and say, do you want to go from 2 trucks, or do you want 10 trucks? You want to go from 5 or 6 people, or do you want to go to a 3 or 4 crew setup? Are you satisfied with $250,000 a year, or you want to make 1.2? It's up to you. Your goals is what should determine. It's one of the reasons why every time I'm on a phone call, the very first thing I say is, where are you currently at, right? Where do you want to be? And then what would it mean for you to get there? Like, you don't know how many times I talk to guys all the time. They're like, they're always on the truck. They're always working, and they don't want to do that. That alone for them is freedom. Okay. So now we're going to do this one last one, but now let's say you're the biggest brand, like this guy's in the area, but you're not cutting it. You're just not cutting it. He's not getting the traffic. He's not ranking the way he wants. And it's because his area is honestly, he's not hitting it. So junk removal near me. What he wants is Colorado Springs, which is down here. Now, FYI, let's go back real quick, just so we can show you. So that geogrid that we normally end up with, we want to open that. And I'm going to show you how much driving distance that is once again, so you can kind of see it. Because a lot of times people will say, and I had someone do this yesterday, well, that's really a basic SEO. Well, show me you ranking in this basic SEO shit, because guarantee you most people aren't doing it. Most SEOs don't show maps this big. I can tell you most SEOs won't do it. I know of several, and I only know of one other person that does it the way I do it. And it's telling you, it's not easy. It's just not. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, baby. So, and then we pull the latitude, longitude, or street address at the very top one. And then I'm going to make driving directions to it and hit enter. So that covers that area. Once again, is about a 20 mile. It's just 20 miles. 20 minutes. It's not that big. About 10 miles. That's all. Right? Once again, it's just from here to here, from here to here, right? That's it. It depends on traffic, of course, and all that crap. Everybody wants to tell you, but it all depends, man. Now, if we go back here, and we want to rerun this. Now this is what we wind up doing. So we're going to do this real quick for you, and I'll show you. Junk removal. So when I say, for example, to our clients, we're normally going to do about a 13 by 13. It's about a 20, it's still 20-minute drive from here to here, right? But the difference is once we get you in that one, what we say 1 mile radius, which is point to point, right? Then we go to 2 miles, and you're going to watch how huge this jumps. Ormy's is right here, and you notice Ormy's is just right sitting there to the left. Well, when we take this map and put 2 miles, it will swallow it. And we just covered Colorado Springs. Right? Now, let's go ahead and scan that. And then the next one we'll do is 3 miles. 3 miles doesn't mean a 3-mile radius. It means 3 miles between point to point. And I try to explain that to people, but sometimes it's really hard to explain it without going on video. Yep. Owen, glad to have you too. Mr. Yee Yee, that's what's up, William. Good. Love to have you here, Owen. Awesome. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Hannah. Or Hannah. Let's see. Owen. All right. So let's see here. What else? So that's almost done running. Once it's done running, I'm going to show you the distance between here and here. But that covers 452 square miles. Imagine most SEOs, they wind up showing you what was the equivalent of 26 square miles, which is nothing, right? Nothing. My dead grandma could do that. Seriously, it's not hard. 7x7 grid, 9x9, all that's easy. So this is what the next step is for us. We go from 1 mile to 2 miles to 3 miles, right? Generally about 3 miles is generally where most people are going to have to stop. But if we took this, do the same thing, we take it into ChatGPT, and I run how much of traffic you are losing. This guy, for example, you know, with this is where he wants to be is in Colorado Springs, which is what he's just now covering. This is why he's not getting phone calls, because he's not ranking in Colorado Springs, even though his GMB is in Colorado Springs, right? I mean, it's just, that's the main reason why. I mean, he's not getting it because, you know, top percentage, let's see over here. He's not ranking there, even though, you know, that's where he's supposed to be ranking at. He's not getting rankings there, mainly because he's not ranking there, you know, and he's not going to get any leads from there if, you know, he's not there. So, I mean, it's just, it is what it is. But these SEOs will show you shit and you think you're doing amazing. And the reality is you're not, you know. So let me pull this up. Top percentage. And I'll show you this as soon as I pull it. So we're going to do the same thing for this, you know, this map. And we just want to know what's the top percentage. So if someone was to send me this map and be like, yeah, we're dominating the area, I'd say, no, you're not. You're losing 72. You're losing 72% of all. You're losing, you're almost at 40. So you're losing 62% of all traffic. So that map that it says top 7.3, you're still losing 62% of all traffic. And this is why he's bleeding right now in the water. You know, he's bleeding money. You're leaving money on the table. When you're losing that kind of traffic, that's what's happening. So now let's go back and I'm going to show you. Okay, let's say we at Rank Fortress, we get you dominating that area, right? That's a 2 mile area. And some people will say, well, that's just a basic area. Nah, it's not a basic area. Trust me, it's not. So we're going to do driving directions again. I'm going to show you point to point. Okay, if we've got you ranking in this area, to this area, this area to this area. How far is it? Like, what are we looking at? So once again, this is where we can take this address right here and we go back over here and we go to our maps and we enter in that address first, right? And then we're going to go driving directions, and then we're going to go back to our map here, and we're going to get the top pin and get that address and go, I wonder, okay, where we're at. How far is that? You know, that's what we're going to wind up looking at, is we're trying to figure out, you know, how far is one to another. So generally speaking, and we'll go back here and I'll show you the latitude and longitude of this, and we'll run that. But generally, what we want to stop at is about a 5-mile radius, is about a 40-something minute drive. So in this case, you know, this is Stratmore right here. You see this down here at the bottom is Stratmore. So let's go ahead and share that with you, and so you can see it. But Stratmore. So Stratmore is where we want to start at, which is down here, Stratmore. Okay, we go Stratmore. So we're going to go over here to our maps again. Stratmore, Colorado, right? That's where that's at. We want to get driving directions. Then, of course, I'm going to come back here. And this is, you know, we're going to try to find an area like this right here is Bald Mountain. See that? Bald Mountain. So that's a good area. We could take driving directions to that, or Borders Deck Care. So let's go to Borders Deck Care. We're going to go over here, go to Borders Deck Care, Colorado. I'm just going to see if I can pull it up this way. Yeah. So that's about a 40-minute drive. You see that? Totally different. And this is only in a 2-mile radius. This is just a 2-mile radius. Okay. This is not, you know, this is not even where we stop at. It's not even our goal. So we do it in the 1-mile radius is our goal. Then after that, we go to a 2-mile radius. Right. And as you see, that little 2-mile radius is jumped from freaking, you know, where we were at before, 20 minutes to 40 minutes. Okay, 44-minute drive right here, and that's a straight shot. That's the straightest shot you can get. Right, now let's go back here. We're going to rerun another scan and see, you know, where our goal to end up at is going to be 5-mile radius, and we're going to show you that. But let's go ahead and do a couple of these and we'll show you. So like, what does it even look like? What's this, you know, ultimately supposed to get us to? And this takes, like, when we started the 1-mile radius, we do that within a 3-month period, right? You should be able to get this distance. You know, what most people show you is about like a 6. You should be able to get that in month 1. In month 2, you know, to month 3, you should be able to get this 13 pins or 133 pins. Now, you can go all the way up to 346 pins, covers a bigger area. You know, ultimately is what you want to go, but we'll say at 13. And then instead of a 2-mile radius, we're going to go to 3-mile. So as you can see now, 3-mile completely covers Colorado Springs. So you may not want to go all down here because there's nothing really down in here. You may want to cover the city. Okay. This is where you can actually click on these pins and say, well, I don't want to cover this area, this area, this area, this area, whatever you don't want to cover, you can check off and then it won't use your credits. However, we're just going to go ahead and do it. So this covers completely Colorado. This is a 3-mile radius. This is what we're ultimately going for. So when we scan that, we're going to see, you know, How far is it going to be from point A to point B? All right. So this is where we ultimately want to get you. We want to get you to that where it's point A to point B, and it's in a 3 mile radius. That can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. We've done it in 3 months before, but generally speaking, depends on, are you a service area business or a SOB? Do you have a brand already established? Are you using social media referral links? Are you posting on social media, long form, short form? What type of backlinks are you building? How old is the GMB? There's lots of things. So when I look at things, I look at things on an individual by individual basis. This is a larger map, and as you've seen, you may think it's not that much larger. It's only 2 miles to 3 miles. Well, no, it just jumped from 452 square miles to over 1,000 square miles. And this is what it looks like. So when we ultimately say, hey, I want to take you out to 3 mile radius, this is what we're doing. This is a huge area, huge, right? But you're bleeding out here, and this is why you're not ranking. So when I I do a 3 mile grid and I show people this, and they're like, holy shit, this is why I've been paying $100,000 over 5.5 years for this shit. This is why you're not getting no traffic in, Springs. So let's do this real quick. And I'm going to pull up ChatGPT and show you once again why you're not getting no damn traffic in that area and how much traffic are you actually losing. So if I know how much traffic you're losing, let's say you're already getting 30 calls a month and you're losing, and that's only with 24% traffic in the top three. 24% traffic in the top three, and you're getting 30 calls a month, right? Well, if you had actually ranked in this huge ass area and wasn't losing, like 70 something percent of all traffic, imagine how much more you could be getting, right? You could be getting a lot more. So we don't ever want to just be quote unquote satisfied with where we're at, So let's see what's the point A to point B on this specific map when we run it. Yes, he's in the top 9, but as you saw, it looks like crap, and he's losing almost 80. He's losing about 80% of all money on the table, right? He's not dominating the area, even though his brand is old, even though the website looks cool. This is what really frustrates people, especially when they go to SEO agencies, and these SEO agencies are charging $1,500 to $2,000 a month a lot of times just to do their SEO, and then they show them reports. It makes it look like they're doing good, but their phones aren't fucking ringing. So point A to point B. So it's down here by Fountain or Rock Creek Park. So let's start at Rock Creek Park. Rock Creek Park. And this is in Colorado. And then the next point we want to get to is up here at the very top, which is Larkspur. So let's go back to here, and we're going to get driving directions to Larkspur. Make sure we get this right. Larkspur, Colorado. So how far away is that? That's a 44-minute drive. So it's basically about the same. It's just in a larger area. It's double the coverage area. Okay. So once we're there, then this is where I go back and say, now, do you want to go out further? This is where you need to make decisions. How big do you want your company to be? How much volume can you handle? Do you really want that much volume? And all those sort of things. So once we get from 3 miles, this is where we generally, our goal is at Rank Fortress. Most people need at this point, once it's past 40 minutes, depending on the area, if it's Los Angeles, Sacramento, Atlanta, Miami, depending, if it's past this, 3-mile radius, 133 pins, and you get into 5 miles, this is much bigger. And you're going to wind up needing to wind up getting a second GMB most of the time. So once we start doing this sort of thing, and we're taking out further and further, see, as you can see, now we're getting in Denver. So you may think, well, that's not that much of a bigger difference, William. It's not that big of an area. I want to show you how far that coverage area is, and you're going to understand why it's going to want to. You're going to have to think about, do I need more trucks? Do I want to get more trucks? And that sort of thing, because it winds up being the area of coverage. As you can see, we just went to 3 times the coverage area. We just went from 1,000 square miles to almost 4,000 square miles. So it's a lot bigger. So and this is what you should be showing. You don't want these little rinky-dink maps that a lot of SEOs show you, where it's like, honestly, it's not that big of an area. So we're going to go run the driving directions and look at this. So now as you look at this, he's not even in the top 10. And now you understand why he's pissed. Right? So if we zoom in, this is Stone City. So we'll go in here and enter in Stone City, Colorado. And then we'll go back to here, and we're going to look at the very top of the pin. See, now we're getting more towards Denver, right? Castle Pines, Colorado. And we want to get driving directions. Castle Pine, Colorado. So that is a 1.5 hour drive. So now you understand why I say what I say when I say we're going out. If you go out that far into this huge area in a 5-mile radius, most people won't want to do that. It's because it's a 1.5 hour drive. Most people want to stay within 20 to 40 minute drive. So this is where every 3 months we go over and we review with our client and we go, okay, do you want to go out further or not? Because sometimes you don't need to. Also, and another thing, we'll go over this, but it's called, and I don't know if you guys know what this is called, but it's called Justice Map. So Justice Map, yep. So let me show you his, Mr. Yee. Remember what they say, SEO is so easy, right? Yeah, this is some really good listening. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Yee. Soak it up, because I help people all the time, and I do free training. You know, this is what this is, and then I also do paid training. So appreciate that, Clifford. So that's what we're ultimately, Clifford's a client. What we're ultimately after is when we start at the GeoGrid, like you're in the top 3, next is obviously double it, double it, double it, and then eventually how much further out you want to go. And this is why, for instance, Cliff, I say, once we're at this area, this 3 miles, you're going to have to probably get another GMB, because the number one ranking factor, in my opinion, after doing thousands of clients and audits, is proximity. How far are you from this address to this address? We can break it, but not always, okay? Now, in these maps, a lot of times you'll see areas that you don't necessarily want to rank in. There is, and we're going to do this on another show completely, but I just kind of wanted to give you all these tips. This is what's called Justice Map. How many of you know? Drop me a 1 if you've heard of the Justice Map. So the Justice Maps breaks down. It breaks down. Let me close out these other windows. It breaks down for you the ethnicity. Okay, which is, it's all right. That's part of what I want, but that's not really what I want. Up here at the top, you see the income household. I can choose that. So what I really want is the income household, right? And what we're looking for when we're looking at the income is we're looking for these blue areas most of the time, right? These blue areas. The blue areas right here, you can see that. The blue areas mean money. It means going to the fucking bank is what it means, right? I don't care if you're American, Indian, Asian, Black, Hispanic, white, whatever. The blue areas, you know, when we're talking about money is where we want to go. So if we click on income, this is what we want. We want these blue areas right here, these dark blue areas. As you can see, most of the time it's in areas like Washington, New York, Boston, then some patches in here, right? So how can I use this information? Like I can click on this area right here, right? This zoom in, and you can get the exact area. I can do a street map. I can do all types of shit, right? But my thing is, just because you're like this county right here, you know, this is a blue county. This is a blue county. This is in Colorado, like his specific area in Colorado Springs. To the left, he doesn't want necessarily to be ranked, right? To the right, he does. Towards Denver, he does. Now you can see why it's harder to get ranked in these areas is because this is where the money's at. Another hack and things that you can use is, I love it, it's called Google Trends. So Google Trends, and I'm going to show you how I use that. But this one's called justicemap.org. If you don't have it, you need to save it, because this is one of the things we want to look at whenever we get these Google Maps and the SEO showing us, and it's like, oh my God, I got this huge area. Well, if it's a huge area and, you know, we're looking at this, right? It's a huge area and it's in a poor dunk area where you ain't got no damn income. It don't really fucking matter, does it? If I got ranked in this tiny podunk area down here where they basically make 35,000, use poverty level of 0 to 35K, I probably might not want to rank there, right? I probably might not want any jobs there. Albuquerque is another one. It's decent, but it's not, you know, it's kind of, it's a so-so, especially these red districts. Okay, now Google Trends, what I like about it, I can type in, let's just say junk removal, right? And that's a search term, but this is called Google Trends. And I can put in, obviously, not the Philippines where I'm located at. I'm going to put in the United States. And let's put in, for instance, we're going to look at Colorado Springs. And this, you can actually look at every single one of these areas, right? Every single state. And why are we going to do this? Once again, it tells us where we should be working at. Best one on, and then you can also go up here. This is just the past day, but imagine doing the past 5 years. Anyone ever tells you, like, junk removal is freaking taken off, okay? If you look at the junk removal space and you've never seen this grid, take a look at that. That is beautiful. If you're in this space, now you can understand why so many people are getting in it. This basically shows you, Google's literally showing you the trends that are happening. You can look up any keyword. You can look up renovations. You can look up any term whatsoever and find out where you should be putting your business at. Where should I move at? But let's just say we're going to stick with good old Colorado. Colorado is actually not the #1 state. Believe it or not, it's Rhode Island. Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Washington, Georgia. Right? Now, what you do when you click on this, click on your state, it's going to tell you what areas. Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Colorado, Denver, and Grand Junction. The rest of it, stay out of it. It's not worth it. You know, these are the only cities you should be trying to go after, literally. And you can see this term, what it's doing. Now, this is another hack, and I'm going to show you this on another one. But let's say, why do I not go after like this? Junk removal services in my area. And this is a term that a lot of people, sometimes SEOs will show you. And as you can see, it has literally no search volume. So I can do the same thing with SEMrush. And a lot of times people will show you all these keywords that they got you ranked for. And it's not really got any volume, you know. And mind you, this is worldwide, right? Worldwide, 170. But if I actually tied this into, let's say, Colorado Springs, because I'm in Colorado Springs, I want to see how much traffic does it get me. It doesn't get me jack diddly shit. Doesn't get me no traffic. Let's make sure, get the volume. Oh, I'm sorry, not, that one in my area, you get a total of 70. It's a little something, but it's not worth it to me. So why would I only go after this term junk removal? Because it gets 49,000 search volume, right? It gets a lot of volume. So make sure you refresh this so you can see this. Keywords, questions. It's extremely difficult to rank for, 68%. Okay. Total volume is almost 1 million. Total keyword variations 49,000. So out of 49,000, just the volume alone on search is 74,000. But in Colorado Springs, this is what you're getting, 210. Versus if we went after junk removal services in my area, you're getting 10. So while a lot of times someone will say, well, it's easy to do SEO or anybody can do it. Anybody can do it if you're going after these stupid terms like this. Or let's say junk removal. Let's just go in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Because you'll see people do this where I go junk removal in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Or junk removal, Colorado Springs, Colorado. And they'll show that to their client thinking they've done something amazing, when if you actually know the tools to use, and you can get a free SEMrush account. You can also use, like I've already shown you, Google Trends. We can go in Google Trends, we can go junk removal, Colorado Springs, Colorado, just to see. It's minimum. It's totally different than the other one. You see this Denver zip, hundreds decent, but when you click on it, there's no real volume. You want to see the map going up. And if we go to SEMrush, you'll see there's no volume whatsoever for that term. It's a difficult keyword to go after. On top of it, it's possible, but it's difficult. But the search volume in Colorado is 0. Yet a lot of people will show you these reports and show you all these different keywords they're ranking for, as if they did an amazing job ranking for these long tail keywords. And the reality is, if you look at the search volume, there is none. There's literally none. So I'm waiting for this report to get done and kind of show you. And we'll do another video just on that. But today I specifically wanted to go over geogrids and reporting, because a lot of it is what I call smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. Yeah. Search volume of 2. That's right, 2. So, and everybody says SEO is so easy. Yeah, it's not easy. It's easy if you want to go after search volume that has none. Like this one is a good one, right? Junk removal, Colorado Springs, right? But when you go and type in that stupid crap there, where you add in the state initials, there's no search volume for it. But if we typed in just the Colorado Springs, as we saw, 880, that's great. And then we can go after all these different terms. We don't want none of this free junk removal. But then if you break down and you see this keyword difficulty is 42%. And that's still possible, but it's difficult. As you can see right here, it says difficulty, possible, but it's semi-difficult, right? There are keywords. If you broke this down and looked at the keywords, I'll do this on another report, but you can, generally speak, You see this versus keyword density? Cheap junk removal Colorado Springs. That means it's easy. Your dead grandmama can do it. But let's go in here and we'll just type in junk removal. So it's 42% keyword difficulty, but if we type in junk removal, what's the keyword difficulty for that? 45%. And it's a total in the US is 68%. So it's a bigger jump. And most of these keywords, as you can see here, are difficult. They're not going to be easy. Questions are usually easier. How much does junk removal cost? How much is junk removal? Those sort of things. Also, the cost per click goes up. The competitive density. We'll go over another one. It's called golden keyword ratio. I just kind of want to show you this. So when you get these reports from your SEOs and it makes you feel like you did something, just understand you haven't. And when they're doing is they're just showing, if you will, they're doing smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. That's all they're doing. So this is the client, and I kind of want to look at, his website. And we'll look at everything for him and kind of see where he's at, what he's doing, and that sort of thing. And what happens is a lot of times these people will work with these big name guys like JRA or any of them, and they get, and let's look at this. So this is junkhall.com, right? He's got authority score, it's good. Organic traffic, he's got 814, but as you saw earlier, he's not ranking in Colorado Springs. He's got almost 6,000 backlinks, and his traffic share is decent, but his organic keywords, if you watch this, has just been going up and down. And in March or April, it went up, and then crashed. And it's been flatlined for the past, how many months now? Since March of this year to now. And let's say now, right now, he has 4 keywords in the organic. In organic, he only has 4 keywords. But what will happen is when an SEO comes to him, he'll say, look, man, you're ranking for 305 keywords. He's got 814 in organic traffic. But if we look and we go, okay, let me look at all of the traffic you're getting. Let me look at all the keywords you're ranking for. Which ones are difficult? Which ones are easy? And then I can see, well, why you're not getting volume. Like this one right here, right? This one right here, where you should be ranking for. Are you appearing in the SERPs? You're in the local pack feature for there, but you're not picking up that much volume. What keyword density? We want to look at that. So out of 300 and something keywords that you're ranked for, you are, and we would break this into an Excel sheet. You can export it out. So if you ever want to look at it, we go export this out, export it into a Excel sheet, and then we can open this up if we wanted to, or I upload it into my Google Drive, and I'll show you this. And then we can organize this and why we want to do this. So like if someone ever came to me, an SEO, and they were showing me all these keywords, you guys can go, okay, well, let me look at those reports, Johnny, when they show them to you, and I can organize it by keyword difficulty, right? I can organize this whole thing by not just keywords, search volume, keyword difficulty right here, which is what I want. And as you can see, it is in numeric order. So out of 296 keywords, anything that's in the 30s and above is about the only thing that's going to be difficult. So if we went back to your SEMrush report, you would see, so for example, as you go down on this report, you'll see yellow, 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 and green is right here where you want to be. Everything in green is easy. Easy. You just need quality content. You don't even need backlinks. right? Possible. You just well structured. Now, when you start getting darker yellows, it's still possible, but it's going to be more harder. As you get into the dark oranges, you're going to need a lot of referring domain names. Like anything difficult, where you're going to need a lot of domain names. You need great content, great authority, lots of backlinks, but anything that's under 30 is what we want to keep. So anything that's on here that's above 30 is basically the only thing that's difficult, right? So what we can do is we go, okay, I want to know what the total search volume is, or how many keywords. So we have 295 keywords to reality is we only have 99 keywords that we're actually ranking for. Okay. That's the only thing that we're ranking for. And then we can also sum up the keywords and go, well, how much traffic should I be getting? Should you be getting versus you are getting is different. Like, should you be getting is the total. This is what is even possible. What's possible is 18,000 searches a month if every one of these keywords were actually in the top pages. The problem is they're not, and you're only getting 800 something damn searches because your positions for these keywords suck. So if we alphabetize this, and if you will, we filtered it or organized it, then you're going to see that you're actually not ranking, of course, as high as you think. Sort the range A to Z. So as you can see right here, these are the only ones you're on page 1 for, right? You're only on page 1 for 24 terms. No one's going to go past page 1 ever. So this will explain why. So let me show you this again. So out of the how many keywords you're ranking for, 295. So out of 295 keywords, you are only ranking actually on page 1 for 24 of them. And those 24, the search volume you could possibly get for those, and that's if they were all getting that, is 6,810. Right? Now, how much traffic are you actually getting? It's bad. From the top keywords they're performing, 460. So 460 searches actually come from the keywords that you want to get them from. And none of this is junk removal. You see? The only keyword you got worth anything on here is this one. This is a brand name. This is a brand name. This is a brand name. Junk removal and hauling, possibly. But even that, there's no search volume. So the ones you actually want is this one right here. So that's one you want. And then you want this one. All right. So what's the problem here? So the problem here, you are getting traffic from this keyword, but you're at the very bottom of the page. You're at the very bottom of the page in organic for that keyword, junk removal Colorado Springs. Out of 1,300, you're getting 322, right? Now, your total volume, if you will, of traffic every month is 749, which tells you, so your total volume of search traffic is 749, which if you go back to your keywords, that will tell you that out of 749, out of 300 and something is coming from all those easy ass keywords. Now, mind you, if you were actually on page 1 for all those easy ass keywords that everybody wants to show you, then you should be getting a lot more traffic. You should be getting, let's do this whole thing and I'll show you. So you should be getting a lot more traffic. So traffic wise, if you were ranking for every one of those keywords, right, and you were on page 1 for every one of those keywords, this is what you would be getting. This is the potential traffic that you would have if you're on page 1. Mind you, they're not all going to click on your shit, but it's 40,620, right? And you, my friend, all these keywords that they want to show you, you get lots of zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and you're not even on page 1 for them. I mean, it's like, why would someone waste their fucking time on a lot of that stuff? But let's just go ahead and, figure it out, right? Your traffic, 749. So like I showed you earlier, only about 300 something traffic is coming from 300 something of it's coming from keywords that don't even matter. So I'm going to go over keyword research in another program on another day, but I just kind of wanted to show you all that to show you and kind of go over, if you will, reports and how to find out not only are you ranking, where you're ranking at, is it in a good area that has lots of money or no? Is it an area that maybe it's poor and you shouldn't even be ranking there and you're wondering, hey, I'm ranking in this area and I'm not getting any work. Why is that? Well, did you check out the poverty index? Did you check out where the money's at? Have you done due diligence, or are you just relying upon your SEO agency to tell you the truth? And what happens is a lot of times they do nothing but smoke and mirrors and essentially lie to you, and you don't want that. You don't want someone that's just going to lie to you and shit. So, that's my 2 cents about it all. But that's what I'd wind up telling you is like, listen, got to pay attention, got to do your own due diligence, got to look at some things that maybe they're not being all that truthful with you. So look at the reports, look at the geogrids, look at the distance. How far is it? Is it just the small ass grid, or is it 20 minutes? If it's 20 minutes, great. Most people want to drive about 20 minutes. They want to go even further. If it's, I understand locksmith or junk removal and stuff like that, 40 minutes, probably about the max. And after that, you need another GMB for another location or a bigger city. Always wants to go get in the city center, the centroid. We covered that. Also, if you have any questions, as always, just let me know and I will answer them. I will be back again, same day, same time, and not same day, but same time tomorrow. And we are going to be talking about how to make money in your niche. Okay, and where's the money at? Because it's not over the entire state a lot of times. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. All right. For instance, there are clients, they'll show you, well, I want to rank in this area because this is where they think the money's at. And then you find out, if you look at the poverty index, no, that's not where the money's at. Money's actually to the west. So if you have any questions, reach out to me on Facebook. If you don't know me, my name is William. I have over 20 years, almost 30 years in the SEO industry. You can reach me at rankfortress.com. You can book a call there, or you can also go to junkremovalseoexpert.com. Either one, you can reach me, and I gladly help you. I gladly audit your website and help you in any way I can to help you succeed and get the rankings and the business you not only need, but you deserve. Until next time, appreciate it. You have a great day and be blessed.